So the first thing on the list of segments for today is the Biden first things Biden did on day one. I know other people talked about it, and I'm a little late to the party, but I'm gonna read over this and just I guess give my thoughts and comments and see if if maybe there's something I missed. Maybe chat can point something out to me. I don't know. We're gonna go with dark mode. It's easier for me to read at least. And if you guys want, I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah. You're down with paying me to say stuff? I'll say whatever you want. If you're gonna pay me, yeah, I'll say whatever you want. Anyways. Executive Order 1. Require masks on federal property. I don't think this is a problem. I was actually surprised this wasn't a thing that was required. If you're on federal property, please do not contribute to potentially spreading the virus more than it needs to be spread. It's pretty simple. Rejoin the World Health Organization. I haven't really seen any valid source. I kind of looked into this a little bit, and I got this weird source from China News. I don't know. It was on Lilith Levitt's Twitter about why being with the World Health Organization is bad, and it was the only thing I could really find against the World Health Organization, so maybe I have to do more research, but I don't think that the World Health Organization is that bad. I mean, the World Health Organization does support trans rights, so maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know. I'll acknowledge that, but I personally don't really know much about the world, bad things the World Health Organization has done. So maybe if I get more information on the World Health Organization, if there are bad things about this, I just don't know. Everything I've seen from the World Health Organization has been pretty good. So set up a COVID office that reports directly to Biden. So this is just for communication. And I don't know, was there a Trump order that prevented it from directly going to Biden? I'm not sure. This is a little weird. The phraseology of this is from Politico. That's the source I'm using today. I don't understand why this wouldn't be a thing. And if Trump made an order that specifically targeted not getting information to Biden, that's really weird. But I don't think that's the case. That just seems too out there. I don't know. Extend foreclosure and eviction moratoriums. So there's actually kind of an eviction crisis in our country at the moment due to COVID and a lot of people losing our jobs. I don't know, maybe I could find something about that. More than 14 million American households are currently at risk of eviction, according to a recent report, with nearly 5 million of those households expected to receive eviction notices starting January 1st, when a ban issued by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention lapses, which could lead to thousands of unnecessary deaths, according to findings in a separate SSRN study. So I would have to look at this study later. Yeah, I've heard of this eviction crisis because of COVID, and that's pretty scary. We shouldn't be dealing with that. And I think that this is to help make that better. Give people more time before they're evicted, so they're not without a house. There are a lot of people out there that say just move, but moving is really hard. Next one, free student debt collection. Again, a lot of people are struggling financially and with their money right now because of COVID. It's hard to find work. It's hard to get a suitable income because so many places are closed. It's just an unfortunate reality of the situation. And, doing what we can to make sure that everyone has as much money as possible so they could survive, it's good. I am totally in support of that. Rejoining the Paris Climate Accord. So this was it's about greenhouse gas emissions and counteracting that and doing things against that. I would say that, in my opinion, if you're not really, if you were torn between Biden and Trump, I think on just the issue of climate change, which I would argue is the most important issue because it dictates the future of everyone being alive, kinda. Biden is just objectively better on climate change. Trump and his people had a lot of science deniers in his cabinet and among him as he was working in that administration. And Biden is just significantly better. The Paris Climate Accords, it's just a good thing. It's about trying to do something about climate change and greenhouse gas emissions. So, I mean, on this one issue, I think that would be like the end of the argument of like a Biden versus Trump sort of thing. It's just who's better on climate change. It's I don't know. Don't have to think about it very much. Revoke the permit for the Keystone XL pipeline and cancel other Trump administration energy rules. So what's this about? I don't know about this. Biden revoked the presidential permit for the $8 billion Keystone XL pipeline that would have transported fossil fuels from Canada across the United States, a project climate activists have protested for years. The order also directs federal agencies to start reversing and revising other Trump administration rules, including restoring protections and banning drilling in several national parks and national monuments, and setting stricter emissions and fuel economy standards for vehicles. Yes, this sounds like a good thing. Fossil fuels are incredibly harmful to the environment. We need to cut down on that as much as possible if we want to, help preserve our planet. So, anything to cut down on that is good. Reversing and revising rules that would, ban drilling, because drilling for oil is pretty bad for the environment as well, especially in national parks and monuments, which are areas that are supposed to be preserved. Drilling in there just seems illogical to me. So, and stricter emissions on fuel economy standards for vehicles. So making sure that vehicles are up to a certain standard to where they're not contributing as much to pollution. That's pretty cool. I'm down. Nix the 1776 Commission. I'm not sure what this Trump order is that was reversed. Biden terminated the Trump administration's 1776 Commission, a project aimed at promoting a more conservative history curriculum in the U.S. schools that existed for only a few months. The group released a report on Martin Luther King Jr. Day that contained several inaccuracies and paragraphs lifted from other published works. The executive order also directs all federal agencies to create an action plan within 200 days to address unequal barriers to opportunity in agency policies and programs. It also undoes the Trump administration's policy that prohibited federal contractors and some grant recipients that conduct any form of race or sex stereotyping, including diversity training. Oh boy, okay, that's a good thing. So what this basically means, this if you know what's going on in China and North Korea, they have like propaganda in schools. It's basically saying that their country is the best, their leader is basically a god, and that like they need to be worshipped. I mean, it's basically what it is. It's propaganda, and so this is just Americanized propaganda, Americanist exceptionalism training in schools, and that's pretty cringe. I don't want Americanized propaganda in the schools, and also considering diversity training as like race or sex stereotyping when it's just, it's supposed to be education on the fact that different types of people exist and how to go about interacting with different types of people. That's what this is all about. Being against this is kind of whack. It's good to have sexuality classes and to teach kids that, it's okay to not be heterosexual, to not be cisgender. These things are okay, and we need to know what these things are, and also to know like things about sex in general, and to have that sex education so people know, especially at a young age, that like if they're being abused, what that means, what that looks like, so they can identify that and then they can report that and hopefully get out of that situation. Personally, this is not based on anything but like my personal beliefs. I think that conservatives do want to keep kids in the dark about sexual education stuff, in some cases because they want to abuse kids. You know, it's easier to abuse someone when they don't know what's going on. So that's the thing about this. That's another aspect to it. It's very often found in my life experience, at least, that people who prey on kids tend to be conservative. But, you know, again, that's just based on me. I'm not basing this off of anything objective, and you can take that as you will. Unwind Trump's changes to the census. Biden signed an order revoking the Trump administration efforts to exclude undocumented immigration from the U.S. Census. Okay, I think that's basically all we need to know. Here's what I think about this. If they're in the country, you should count them as people that are in the country. The census is a thing that counts the people that are in the country and records information about them. If they're in the country, please count them. What's it going to do if an undocumented immigrant is counted in the country? It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't do anything. This just makes us have more accurate statistics as to who's in the country, what they're like, what their demographics are, what the, religion, marital status, all that stuff, all that good information. This just gives us more information, and I think that is objectively a good thing. I think having more information as opposed to less information is pretty objectively a good thing. All right, strengthens legal protections for Dreamers. I'm not sure what Dreamers is, but Trump did something against this. So Biden directed the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the Attorney General, to take actions to shore up the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the DACA program, that shielded hundreds of thousands of young immigrants from deportation. The Trump administration tried to abolish the program, but was stopped by federal courts. So this program was made to prevent young immigrants from being deported. Young immigrants, and I'm assuming their families too, from being deported. I don't know. What do I think about immigration? I think that we should just have open borders, honestly. I really don't care where you're from. I don't really give a shit. If you do bad things, it doesn't matter where you're from. They're bad and you should be responsible for it, but I don't think that immigrants are like inherently bad or anything. I think most of the time these are just people who want to go somewhere else and are working very hard to go somewhere else, but like the legal way of doing it is really shit. So they do it illegally, and I don't really blame them for it. I don't really care. And that's my take on that. Whatever. Abolish the Muslim Ban. So it wasn't officially called the Muslim Ban, but everyone called it the Muslim Ban. So that's why it's in quotes. Anyways, what this did was there were countries that had a majority Muslim population that were basically targeted to be banned from, people were banned from coming into America from these countries. And I think it was pretty obvious that this was rooted in xenophobia and just like not liking Muslim people. I don't know. It just came off like that. So I don't know, to unban travel from a country that was banned, multiple countries that were banned for like arbitrary reasons, such as a lot of people being Muslim in that country. It's just dumb to me. I think it's fine. I think this is a good thing. Whatever. This is cool. I'm down for this. I actually have a friend who's Muslim, and I think this prevented some of his family from visiting him, so That's something. Number 12, cancel the Trump administration's interior enforcement rule. Biden revoked a Trump executive order that massively expanded immigration officials' interior enforcement work and broadened the categories of who they should try to detain and deport. His acting DHS secretary then issued a memo pausing deportations for 100 days beginning on January 22nd. Oh, so this already happened. Yeah, I'm not about people being deported. I don't particularly agree with that. So that's fine. Halt construction of the US-Mexico border wall. Yeah, I don't like borders, so that's cool. Extend deportation protections for Liberians. I mean, yeah, protect people from being deported. That's fine. This one's the big one for me. As a gay, well, I guess I'm like bisexual slash pansexual transgender woman. This is pretty great. So Biden signed, I'm sorry about that, I hit my mic. Biden signed an executive order making it clear that his administration interprets the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as prohibiting workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. The order also directs federal agencies to make sure existing laws banning sex discrimination also prohibit discrimination against gay, bisexual, and transgender workers. That's pretty fucking poggers. That's an absolute gamer moment. I love this. There's nothing bad about this. You know, I am an LGBT person that also goes to a workplace every week, and I do work. Implement an ethics pledge for all executive branch officials. I thought this was pretty interesting. So, yeah, I heard about this. Biden signed an ethics pledge and ordered every appointee in the executive branch to do so as well. The pledges cover both a ban on political interference with the Justice Department and a ban on all officials using their office for their own personal gain. So, I don't know if this will really do anything, but I thought it was an interesting and neat gesture to sign a pledge that you're going to try to be ethical as you're going into a new administration. I think that that's pretty neat. And what I would actually argue for is, instead of like an ethics pledge, like take an ethics class. Like, even if you've taken it in college years ago, like, all these people are old ass men and women, and yeah, there's a few women here, but like, these people are old. These people are boomers, and they haven't gone to school in a while. But like, yeah, take an ethics class again. You know, brush up on that as you go into this position of power. I think that would be really cool, and it might impact some decisions. And you know, I think that's something that like Supreme Court justices should do. I think it's something everybody there should do. It's just cool. I don't know. Freeze Trump's midnight regulations. What's this? Biden signed an order that will freeze all Trump administration regulations currently in process, blocking them from taking effect while the new administration reviews them. That's pretty funny. Just put a pause on that, check them out before they're reviewed. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. That is the thing. Let's check out chat and we will end this segment.